I can't believe this might actually happen. 2022 will end with a bang. What do you guys think about our country's living conditions? What do you think about our cost of living? In today's stimulus package update and daily news report, we're going to discuss the dire state that our economy is at and why we need to take charge of our lives. What's going on, you guys? It is Ron here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, before we begin, please take a second, smash the like button. Really appreciate that. Also, subscribe to the channel. Let's go ahead and get started. Some Americans are getting up to $1,000 cash as White House remains silent on new stimulus checks. Do you feel that all of the Americans that need stimulus checks during this critical time will receive one? With the stock market down by several thousand points from the NASDAQ to the S&P 500, retirement plans like 401ks, traditional and Roth IRAs, and pensions are feeling the pain. Even Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, and the entire cryptocurrency market has crashed over the past few months. Will Social Security recipients get the extra $200 increase to Social Security? Will SSI and SSDI payments be included in this boost? Why aren't all states sending stimulus checks to qualified recipients in need of another stimulus check? Have you contacted your congressman or your congresswoman about a stimulus check? If you did receive another stimulus check, how much would you need to be comfortable? Drop me some comments down below. And also be sure to check out my previous videos to see what states are sending out stimulus checks right now. Owning a home and a car while having student loan debt paid, it used to be an attainable feat, mixed in with affording everything else, including other daily expenses. We saw it in our parents and our grandparents when the American dream was alive and kicking. But today, that dream has almost become just a memory for most Americans, as the cost of living has catapulted into territories that most of us didn't even think that it could reach. Just gas prices alone have put such a toll on our finances that more and more Americans are literally just swiping their card just to buy necessities. Now with that, more and more people are losing all hope that they could ultimately one day pay off their credit card bills. The share of Americans who have the same sentiment hit its lowest point since 2018, according to a LendingTree survey. In it, only 53% of cardholders said that they were confident of their ability to pay their card's monthly balances in full, which is down by 10 points from 2 months ago, and it matches the largest monthly decline in history of the consumer index. Matt Schultz, LendingTree's chief credit analyst, said this, quote, "There's only so long that credit card holders can be expected to manage rampant inflation, rising interest rates, increased spending, and general overall economic uncertainty before they start to struggle a little bit more. In the past few months, with how quickly gas prices have risen and how grocery bills have grown, those are only two things that hit most everybody. Now, when those sort of basic fundamental costs of life rise, it ends up taking a toll, a very big toll," end quote. Now, here's the worst part. The pain is just about to start as the Federal Reserve may continue to rise interest rates in their efforts to curb inflation. Now, as we've all felt, inflation hasn't spared everyone, with the sentiment for this index plunging for all generations. Even if you had a job, the constant rise of prices, it's like Sonic the Hedgehog against our turtle wages, or that sloth from the Zoo movie. Comment down below if you remember that title. Slow is not a term that we can use when we're talking about some of the workers that we have in our fast food joints. Minerva Rodriguez from Houston, Texas has worked at McDonald's for more than 23 years. She does the work of about 2 or 3 people because their branch is heavily understaffed. In the comment section down below, put how much you think that she's being paid hourly. You guys done? All right, her hourly pay is, guess what, $12 an hour. While food prices at McDonald's go up, their wages do not. According to Rodriguez, quote, "The wages are incredibly low and not sufficient for the work we do. They don't want to lose that extra money. If they can have their present workers do double the job and not have to pay another worker, it's a benefit for them. But what happens to us? With food costs rising and gas prices rising, how are we supposed to live?" End quote. Now, her case is not a remote one, and there are Americans all over the nation that are working much more than they're actually being paid for. And as the price of everything goes up, our wages have remained stagnant. But it's not like these places are making a huge profit, right? Oh wait, well, McDonald's alone reported sales growth at 13.8% last year. Their CEO, Chris Kempinski, he was paid more than $20 million in the same year. David Gibbs, the CEO of Yum Brands, which includes or owns Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and KFC, recorded an almost $400 million profit in the first quarter of this year. Gibbs was also paid $27.5 million just last year. Chelsea Church, a shift lead manager at Taco Bell in Denver, Colorado, said this, quote, "No one can live off of $13 an hour. We have to deal with angry customers all the time about our prices going up, but our pay isn't. They've had quite a few people turn down the job because it's not going to be enough to pay rent or help you buy your kids clothes and food. Everyone is just busting their butt with extra work. They're not even getting paid for it. No one gets a break. I don't get a break." End quote. Inflation has really taken a toll on so many of us, but it's extremely difficult for those of us who are living paycheck to paycheck. And when we say this doesn't include the middle class or even those who are earning six figures. Now, I'm not even going to talk about those who are even lower than middle class. They're lower income earners, many of which stuck on Social Security, receiving SSI, SSDI, and are possibly even in retirement. That category of income earners is even more vulnerable. While experts and analysts have blamed the federal stimulus checks for high inflation, it's also clear why a lot of Americans are still calling for a fourth stimulus check. There's just too much to pay for with wages remaining unbalanced. And you're not going to just sit there and tell these people who are just trying to feed their families that a fourth stimulus check won't help them even for a moment. Now, with no resolve in sight, the situation is not going to bode well for President Biden and the Democrats' bid for November's midterm elections. It was very early in the year when we already said that this was going to be problematic for them. And unless they can turn things around with the time that they have left, things are not looking good. And it's not just in our country. International confidence in President Biden has plummeted as well, globally. While approval ratings here at home, they're not any better, with it being worse than former President Donald Trump's ratings at the same stage of presidency. The economy has taken a huge hit in the past few years, mixed with a health crisis and a war. It was the worst mix of events to happen. To make matters worse, almost half of parents who used to receive the stimulus checks in the form of child tax credits, they're saying that they cannot afford enough food to feed their families months after the stimulus payments have stopped, citing increased costs of food. Families are noticing rising prices of gasoline, childcare, and rent due to inflation as the major causes of their troubles. Some parents are even skipping their own meals just to provide food for their children. 2022 has been a year full of downturns, and we're only 7 months in. But despite all of this, we cannot lose hope or waver, because we know that things won't always be this way, and that sooner or later things have to get better. The one thing that we need to focus on is, how are we going to overcome the problems that we have? Now let's take it one step at a time. Let's start with our debt and move from there. The thing with debt is that it's the one major thing that they can use to control us. And if we free ourselves from it and we can get away from that system, then we can move around more freely. The key is being financially independent. And I know that some loans may actually be necessary, like a mortgage, for example, but for the time being, as our economy is at its worst right now, I highly suggest that we avoid unnecessary debt until we can actually figure out how to clear things up. Now, of course, none of this is financial advice. I'm just talking to you like, I'm talking in my head and speaking out loud. The one thing I know about us Americans is that we are resilient people and that we are going to take control of our lives sooner than later. What are you doing today to get yourself out of the system? Let me know in the comments below. And while you're down there, don't forget to drop a like for the video. And if you haven't already, please make sure to subscribe. That way you don't miss out on any of my future daily uploads. I want to thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are awesome. You guys are smart. You guys can do this. This is Ron, and I will see you guys on the next one. Prepare now. Stimulus checks and tax refunds cannot come soon enough. Diesel and gas prices are soaring. With bans on food exports, droughts, and global inflation, empty shelves have been replaced by higher and higher food prices every time on our grocery store shelves. The price of milk, meats, eggs, and cooking oils, they're all hitting record highs. It seems like the middle class just can't catch a break. Have you ever dropped your phone and cracked the screen and wished you had insurance on it? Yeah, sucks, doesn't it? And you certainly wouldn't wreck your car and then go look for insurance, would you? I don't think so. Heating and air conditioning systems fail unexpectedly and cost thousands of dollars to repair. How about that upstairs toilet leaking downstairs? How about the water heater or a surprise leaky roof? Yep, could cost thousands. But don't let Murphy's Law catch you by surprise. Get your free home warranty quote and never have to worry about expensive home repairs again. Link in the description down below. That's right, you guys. Get your free home warranty quote, link in the description today.